And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, all about making you more informed consumer, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We got a great lineup for you. Coming up later in the show, Kevin Overstreet, Insured Title, going to be in studio. He's the author of Fraud Shine State, talks a lot about title fraud, insurance fraud on the title, that is. Also has a propertyprequal.com as well. He's going to talk about that. We have Brandon Faust coming in, Mold Zero, as well as Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show today. This segment is brought to you by Chad Irrigation. Reach out to Victor and his team over at Chad Irrigation for all of your sprinkler systems, any irrigation needs. They do a great job. Give them a call and let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Victor with Chad Irrigation. I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They did a great job on my family's home. So I trust them, and you can too. Chad Irrigation. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Every day we like to tell you something good. We have a feel-good story of the day. Port manatee worker stumbles across 12-foot alligator. We're going to tell you about some tips that can help you avoid those types of scenarios. Plus, we like to feature our real estate listings. So if you have any properties that you're looking to sell, we'd love to talk to you about how we feature our real estate listings live on the program. 117 14th Street in Bel Air. This is a great opportunity to own a beach property on a double lot. It's a pool home that is completely renovated and updated and upgraded. This property is beautiful. 117 14th Street in Bel Air. Just over $1 million buys you this beautiful property here in Tampa Bay. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2,800 plus, almost 2,800 square feet. Private pool, gourmet kitchen. You got a jetted tub and temperature-controlled wine cooler as well for all the wine connoisseurs out there. Great opportunity to own real estate right here in Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, let's make our introductions. We'll go Brandon Faust right here. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be in the studio. It's been a little bit of a break, I guess. Been busy. So
yeah, man.
Glad to be back.
Busy with work. That's good stuff. Contracting, getting some stuff done out there. Mold, silent killer. Give us a little teaser what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, hurricane season is upon us. Obviously, when you have water, you have life, and a lot of times that life in your home is not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
You're inhaling stuff, it's going to off-gas, and that might not be good for you or your family.
Right. Absolutely. Brandon Faust in the house, moldzero.com. And Chuck Peterson, our friend Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing. Welcome back.
How you doing, Brandon? You look good. It's been a while since I've been able to screech over here to the Bay Area, but it's great to be here, kind of trying to hang out with all the winning sports teams in the world, down here, right?
That's right,
Got the
man.
Lightning going, winning last night.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, man. So, glad to be here.
Good stuff, man. Talk about tips for our consumers. Hurricane season is upon us.
Yeah, hurricane season is here. I mean, we got storms already spinning up. A few of them, little ones, hit land already. So, we'll talk about things you can do. You want the water, if it hits, we want to get the water off your roof, and then you need Brandon to come get the mold out.
That's right.
So we're here to help.
Yep. Just in case that scenario plays out, we can definitely help you with that. So let's jump right into it. I want to go Chuck Peterson here, Suncoast Roofing. So Chuck, what are some of the biggest contractor tips? When you find these different contractors out there. I've been talking to different people throughout the country. One of my old show partners from like 7-8 years ago, he owns a big cleaning company or a carpet cleaning company, and he was telling me about how a lot of times the adjusters are in on some schemes. Like a lot of adjusters have gotten caught recently. Maybe not in Florida, but I think he was talking about maybe the Panhandle or even over
Louisiana.
Yeah.
For sure. And the rules are a lot different. So let's make sure we clarify that the state of Florida is heavily regulated, and I mean heavily, way more so than any state in the country. So the adjusters that come to your house on behalf of the insurance company, they're coming not on behalf of you as a consumer. They are coming on behalf of the insurance company, right? So we always recommend that you allow somebody that is in the insurance claims business to handle your claim. A public adjuster, we have several that we work with all over the state that do fantastic jobs. They make sure that you get paid what you're supposed to get paid. Yes, they charge a fee, and everybody goes, well, I don't want to pay the fee. The reality is they're going to get you paid so you can get all your work done, and they're still going to get their money. If you let it go to just the insurance company's adjuster, you're going to end up paying more out of pocket than you remotely think is possible, because they're telling you, hey, here's what it's going to cost. Here's your deductible you have to pay.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come out there. Brandon's going to come out there. We're going to give you quotes that are going to be past what that insurance guy paid you, and you're going to be paying the difference because you didn't take care of, you didn't do your part as a consumer to make sure you were protected. Because the insurance company's goal is not to pay you 100% of all the money you're owed. I mean, I know there's going to be some insurance guys out there going to be mad at me, but that's just the reality. I mean, we've been doing this for a lot of years, and I can assure you we've seen cases where they actually pay everything, but it's 90-10, they don't.
Right. So, Chuck, the adjuster, then, it's an important decision when you're thinking about bringing on that adjuster, that public adjuster.
Yeah, for your side.
Yeah.
Because the insurance company has an adjuster on their side that's going to come out to your house. He's going to look at the roof. He's going to look at the interior damage. He's going to look at your water remediation guys, what you did to mitigate your job and keep your house safe. His job is to look at that for the insurance company and decide what and if they're going to pay anything.
Right.
If you hire a person who does claims adjusting for a living, a public adjuster,
right,
their job is they're your adjuster.
Right.
And they fight the insurance company on behalf of you.
Right.
So it's a completely different relationship that you have. It'd be no different than instead of you doing, having your neighbor do your roof, you called us to do your roof because we're professionals, right?
Right.
Your neighbor might be able to put shingles on, but you don't know whether or not it's going to be 100%, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the insurance adjuster. The insurance adjuster that's coming out there from the insurance company works for the insurance company. You want to hire a professional that does nothing but the insurance claim. They don't do any work.
Right.
They just do the claim.
Makes sense.
You can hire whoever you want to do the work. You can hire me and Brandon to do the work or anybody else, but they make sure that you get paid.
Right.
So it's critically important if you're a consumer out there that you get the help that you need if you've never dealt with an insurance claim.
Okay, let me get Brandon's perspective on that too.
I mean, Chuck's totally right.
Can I write that down somewhere? I need to send that to my office.
There you go. Send it back to the office.
Yeah. I think you had a guest a couple months back that was talking, he was talking about the insurance industry had lost like $1 billion last year.
$2 billion last year, I think is the number Doug was talking about. Yeah.
So you have to keep in mind that they are a business and they're in there to make money. So if they're losing money, then that becomes a problem. So you have different ways of potentially denying a claim, and they may not necessarily, like let's say you have a water damage issue or you have a roof that's been leaking. Well, you might bring the roof to their attention and they might address the water end of it, but they may not even talk about the fact that you have a $10,000 mold coverage that should actually be tapped into for that same claim. Like let's say you had a water cap that's at $10,000. Well, they may not talk about the mold cap, and they should. Now, if you bring it up, they will.
Right.
Also, I always recommend getting an independent inspection done by an inspector that is not the insurance inspector.
Right.
Just to kind of keep everybody honest and keep so it's all transparent.
That's where that public adjuster, if you hire them, they actually do that piece for you.
Right.
And Brandon's right, and you guys are right. Yeah, the insurance companies have taken a beating in Florida. Don't get me wrong, but their goal, if you have a $10,000 claim, and they can short you 10% over the claims that are in Florida. I mean, we'll just take the hailstorms that were in Dallas. Right, I got a good friend of mine over there. Right, they filed over 800,000 claims.
Wow.
Right, if you took $1,000 or 10%, just say 10% because they're going to be bigger numbers than that, off of every claim over there, guess how much money the insurance company made that should technically have been paid to the insured, right?
Exactly.
Well, if you don't understand how the system works, then you put yourself at peril.
Yeah. Well, it's just another example of corporate skimming. I mean,
it is.
You see that happen in a lot of cases.
Unfortunately, those guys are trained to, and it's not necessarily always the field adjuster. The field adjuster might come out there and say, hey, your roof's in bad shape and we're going to get it replaced. It's the desk adjuster that works for the company. The field adjusters a lot of times after a storm, especially, they bring them in from all over. They're independent guys.
Right.
But they don't get the final say.
Right.
That's why it's important that, he might come out to the roof and say, hey, we're going to pay for your roof and your paint and your this and your that. But when it gets sent back in with the pictures, the people inside the insurance company office, they say, no, we're just going to pay for this.
Right. We're talking about, if you just joined us, Clyde, we've got Chuck Peterson in the house, Suncoast Roofing, Brandon Faust as well, Mold Zero. And how much of that, because you mentioned, like, say, for example, Mexico Beach, a hurricane, for example, a catastrophic event. Can't believe it's been 2 years ago now that happened. When you have out-of-state contractors, adjusters, reps from all types of different companies coming in, how much of that plays into Florida law versus Louisiana law versus Alabama law?
All right, so the adjusters for the insurance company are brought in as independent adjusters. They can be hired by the insurance companies. In Florida, to do the restructuring of the work, though, you have to be licensed in the state of Florida. You can't touch that property if you're not a GC, a mold guy that's certified, a roofing guy that's licensed. There's a license for almost anything you touch on a house.
Right.
They must be licensed. A lot of those guys, and we call them storm chasers, and you've heard that term 1,000 times, those guys from out of state, the big companies especially, send guys in to knock on doors and tell everybody, hey, we're going to take care of your insurance claim. You won't even have to pay your deductible, all that kind of stuff. That's completely illegal at this point in time. They signed the new law they just signed, went into effect, goes into effect 2 days from now. But it's completely illegal. Has been more illegal per se, but they made it very clear all that is illegal. That's not going to stop people when the storm comes from doing those kind of things. And that's why you as a consumer have to make sure that you're dealing with Florida companies. Make sure that you check out who's actually coming to your door. You don't, like we've talked about 1,000 times, right? You don't need to make a decision right the second unless you know who they are or they were referred to you or something like that.
Right.
If it's a storm and you need a tarp on, hey, you can look on Google and see who's Florida based and who's not.
Right.
And you can call those people, but the guys who are just coming in, the outside contractors that come in, they flood the market when the storms hit. And as a consumer, you just have to be very careful with who you deal with. I mean, we've talked 100 times about us doing jobs for people who gave deposits for companies that were out of state, never to be seen again, and then we had to go charge them again, and you feel terrible, but that that's what they did.
Well, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, I want to ask you a little bit more about specifics on deposits, what's normal, customary. Then I also want to talk about some of the other consumer tips in these situations with both of our expert contributor contractors here today, Brandon Faust, Mold Zero, Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, we have a feel-good story today out of Port Manatee, Florida. Workers at Port Manatee got a surprise Friday as they ran into an unexpected visitor. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We love to help you win if you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate. My wife Lindsay and I own a top-ranked real estate team, top 1% in the area out of 25,000 realtors. We'd love to help you buying, selling, or investing. Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. A couple of hot listings here. 1200 Gulf Boulevard, number 1805. This is a penthouse suite, beautiful property, great opportunity to own real estate at the Meridian on Sand Key, Clearwater Beach. Beautiful property, 1200 Gulf Boulevard, number 1805, nearly 4,000 square feet. You got 3-bedroom suites. You got office/den, as well as 3 balconies as well, 2 Gulf side and 1 that overlooks the intercoastal waterways as well. Great opportunity, resort style amenities here. This is a $2.67 million listing of ours at 1200 Gulf Boulevard, Meridian Condo, number 1805. And check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
And we give a quick shout out to Replenish IV Solutions. If you want to feel energized, hydrated, and replenished, Replenish IV Solutions can offer that a safe and effective way to restore your body's crucial systems with crucial vitamins and nutrients, enabling them to perform at optimal conditions, multiple Bay Area locations, or they will come to you as well. So everybody's concerned about their immune system. If you want to feel energized, reach out to Replenish IV Solutions. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on those special offers and incentives. All right, we've got Brandon Faust in the house, Mold Zero, as well as Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing here. Brandon, I want to go to you. Talk a little bit more about some of the different contractor misnomers that people have about contractors, or even especially about mold. I know there's a lot there with mold. But what are you seeing out there? And then also, the question about deposits. Wanted to see what's like customary, ordinary there.
Yeah, I think that some of the points that Chuck was talking about is really crucial, especially guys that are licensed and certified here in the state of Florida, in ensuring that you actually have somebody that has not only the right credentials, but he has the right skin in the game, right? Because let's say you don't have an online reputation, you don't have a history that you can show that you've actually done work. Well, there's a good chance that guy might skip out on you. So you want to know that it's somebody that you can actually trust, somebody that is licensed and certified. It's not a storm chaser, because if they do the work and you need a warranty or you need them to come back and actually fix it, they're long gone, right? So you really want to make sure you have a local company that's going to be responsible for anything that they may have done incorrectly. It does happen, right? And I think that every contractor is going to say, especially if they're open and honest, yeah, we've made a mistake, but we've also been able to come back and fix it to your satisfaction.
Right.
So you need to know that you have somebody who's dependable, honest, and ethical, in terms of picking the actual contractors.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an important decision, picking the right realtor that's going to mesh with you, picking the right insurance agency or contractors. There's a lot of different scenarios there when you look at how to select those. We even had Millie on the show, attorney Millie Athanison, talk about the right questions to ask attorneys to kind of qualify these attorneys that are going to be in charge of big decisions or defending you in some cases. What about deposits? What's the average deposit? What should some people, you've heard people paying as much as 50% as a deposit, and then the guy running off, he's like, wow, no wonder he didn't come back. You gave him half the money for nothing.
Absolutely. Right? And I think it's per industry. Sometimes especially if you have a long project, right, and you're asking for 50% right up front. Well, hey, maybe you should actually have a schedule in terms of actual, because you're going to need deposits, because there's materials that you need. You have to have a payroll to meet, etc. So yes, deposits are crucial, but at the same time, you work out a schedule in terms of payments. So, for example, when we're doing a dry fog job, and that's a quick in and out day, right? Well, that we're not talking about a massive amount of money. So yeah, we might take a 50% deposit, and then we get paid once the job is completed, that day, right? Because it's a quick cycle.
Smaller job.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
But let's say you're doing a roof, right? Well, maybe the deposit on that is 30% or 20%, I think every industry has their particular benchmark and standards.
Right.
If we're doing a massive mold remediation job, or what we call mycotoxin detoxification for your home, where you have a client who's extremely sensitive, and they've gone the distance to find some of the best inspectors in the U.S. that are going to find not only the mold spores, but the gas that it releases and everything else that you could possibly imagine in terms of toxification of your home. Well, those projects could be a much more sizable project. So we're not going to take, a big deposit. We're going to schedule that out,
Yeah. That makes sense. And Chuck, same question to you when you talk about deposits. I know you've answered this before.
Well, ours is a little different because ours is going to be down the road. So when we do our initial quotes and that we turn it into a contract, it's usually $1,000 is all we take. Maybe $2,500 if it's a $50,000 plus roof or something like that. And then we get paid a percentage when we start the project. So you don't have, you're not worried about somebody taking $20,000 and going down the road, or $5,000 like we talked about a lot of times. $5,000 or $10,000 dollars that we've seen people, just handed the money out and never saw the people again. It's unfortunate it happens.
Yes, it is.
But it does, and that's why you need to really be conscious of what you're signing and what you're doing and those kind of things. And especially in this marketplace with the material shortages that are out there for all the industries, giving somebody 50% down now is probably not your best bet, because most everybody is going to be waiting months to get materials.
Right.
And you don't need to give out that money months in advance.
Right.
You can do like we do. The day you start, hey, I don't mind paying you 30 or 40% when I know you're here and you're buying materials.
Exactly.
But I'm not giving it today for you to come back, November, December.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's another bullet point I had on my list here: labor and materials. What are you seeing in materials for your side as well, Brandon?
I mean, I think it's all over the place. You just talk about, how about gas prices and what's happened with the gas prices, lumber prices, steel, etc. Not that we necessarily, especially in the mold remediation part of it, the majority of what we have are the tools, because we're doing removal of contaminated material. But on the GC end of it, the lumber costs, etc., we can't have a quote that goes out where the price, we have to tell the clients, look, you have like 3 days that this is good, and at that point in time, we're going to have to recheck the prices, know. So it's really a changing market. So it's something to consider, of course, all the way around. And I think that one of the points that he is talking about in terms of the deposit, it really does depend on your industry and what are the crucial elements of that industry.
Right.
Because, for me, we have a pretty quick turnaround. Like we're booked out about a week and a half, 2 weeks. That's about how far booked in advance we are. But you talk to a general contractor, and they might be booked out 3 months, 6 months. So putting down a large deposit doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Put down something small, right? Lock in your date. That there's a binding contract that has been, actually confirmed, and then you move forward. For us, we're only booked out 2 weeks, so it's a little bit of a different story.
Yep. And I know a lot of the home builders, I've talked to several people, I call a lot of the expired listings, they tried to sell it expired, they were on the market 90 days or 6 months, something like that. And they're trying to sell properties, and they say, look, it's not that I couldn't sell, it's just that I can't find a replacement home where I want to be for the price range I want to be. And then one lady I spoke to recently, the builder kept increasing the price, $25,000, and then finally they got under contract. Whoop, another $25,000. So she said, I'm not chasing a constantly moving target, and in hopes of moving my family from a great home. I've got a great home. I would like to sell to make my great home, a better home or whatever it might be. Yeah. But it's just a challenge that we have right now in this economy. Stay with us when we come back. More with our two expert contributors here, our contractor expert contributors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Chuck Peterson, Brandon Faust on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Consumer Quarterback Show page out there as well on Facebook. And we'll see you right after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Five, four, three, two, one.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. A couple of hot listings here for this segment. We've got 1780 Clearwater Largo Road. This is a great opportunity for a 1031 exchange. You got a commercial building on a corner lot location in Pinellas County on a major thoroughfare. 1780 Clearwater Largo Road is a almost 40 to 50,000 vehicles a day passing by, about 2,400 square feet, corner lot, hot location. You got 2 of the roll-up style doors available, so great for a contractor business at 1780 Clearwater Largo Road in beautiful Pinellas County. Also, 202 Southwest Shore Boulevard, vacant lot, vacant land. This is in the Plant High School District in South Tampa, and it is a great opportunity to build your dream home in Beach Park community, listed around $400,000. Great opportunity. I've got lots of other vacant land and investment opportunities as well. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got Chuck Peterson in the house, Suncoast Roofing, and also Brandon Faust, Mold Zero, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we were talking about materials. I wanted to ask you guys both a question about labor. So labor is another situation where, there's shortages. Let's go to Brandon here. Labor shortages and hiring help, finding people.
Yeah, I mean, in our industry, especially in the mold world, right, people don't want to sit with a mold problem for very long. So, if I'm talking about, hey, I get to your house in a month, well, they're often looking for somebody else, or they're going to come up with some do-it-yourself project, which is never good for anybody, especially when it comes to mold. But they're trying to solve a problem, and they're trying to solve it rapidly. So I have to figure out, okay, I have 2 weeks max, and if I can't get to it, then I need to hire more labor, and then I need to train those guys rapidly as well.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I do have stable guys that can train, other guys that we onboard. But we don't do the day rate labor. We're always like actual hired employees, and we have to pay for the workers' comp and the insurance, especially in our industry.
And that's
it's huge because there's liabilities connected to it, and it's a hazardous material that you're dealing with. So with the labor shortage, I have to pay top dollar to get guys. I mean, if Chick-fil-A is paying $17 an hour or whatever it is for a dishwasher,
wow,
right, you can imagine people what I'm paying for guys to deal with mold.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Interesting. Same question to you, Chuck Peterson.
Same answer, except kind of different. I mean, the labor shortage is for sure in the construction business, top to bottom. I mean, it's just everywhere. You can't get enough qualified guys to do the work that we have to have done.
Yeah.
So it pushes you out. We're 2 months out probably if you sign today to get a roof done with the crews that we have. We're always trying to hire. But the reality is, with the material shortages, and if something, some storm does come, I mean, it's literally going to be 6, 8, 10 months out for people to get stuff done, and you're still going to be short labor. You're still going to be paying. I mean, in the roofing industry, you can't hire a subcontractor in the state of Florida. That's illegal. So everybody has to work for you, and our workers' comp is 35%. So when we pay them whatever we pay them, we're paying 35% on top of that just to have them walk through the door.
Wow.
So your labor costs are rising by the minute, because labor is short. It's just like, Chick-fil-A's paying $17 because they had to pay to get people to come to work, and we're doing the same thing. We have to pay more to get people to come to work, and you still can't get them. I mean, it's just there's just not enough bodies. I don't think it's we've talked about, is it the unemployment thing? probably doesn't affect roofing very much. Let's be honest. It might affect a lot of industries, but probably not roofing. There's just not a lot. There's just not enough bodies to actually do the work that's available right now.
Why do you say that? The unemployment doesn't affect roofing as much? Because people are less likely to do that type of work.
Yeah, the people that do that type of work, they're not claiming much unemployment anyway.
Right.
Those guys are doing something else.
Okay.
They're just not on that payroll piece.
Got it.
So there's just not enough bodies.
Right.
For the industry to do the work that's available. I mean, we literally could hire 20 guys today if we could get them.
Yeah.
Wow. And not at $17 an hour either.
Yeah.
But you just can't get them. You just can't get them.
$17 an hour to what was it? Cook or
wash dishes?
Wash dishes at Chick-fil-A. That's a real. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Chipotle changed everything, right? If you walk in the door, they're 15. They moved their prices 50 cent on their stuff, and they were able to pay everybody in their business 15 plus an hour.
Wow.
So now everybody, gets what they call their living wage. But I mean, they were able to do it pretty easily.
Yeah, and the small businesses, the mom and pops get hit harder than the corporations.
Well, not really, because I mean, I would say we're a pretty damn good sized company. I mean,
I'm comparing though to Amazon.
I know. Yeah, we're not Amazon, but still, still trying to hire and pay more, and it's just literally there's just not enough bodies.
Yeah,
it's just you can't produce them.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
It is. It's really, and it's not just us. We know a lot of the roofing companies, but also a lot of the GCs are in the same boat. I mean, they're just hot trying to find guys.
Let's do a quick round of our lightning round here.
The lightning round.
I am so good at lightning rounds.
That's the lightning are doing so good.
Yeah, exactly. Can we just say congratulations?
Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom, Brandon Faust.
Well, I think you had a great guest line up here. You had Veteran Gutters, Brandon Porter, right? You need to get that water away from your home. Yep. You need to make sure that your roof with Suncoast Roofing is in good shape, because if you don't have those two things in place, you're going to be calling me.
Yep.
And because if there's water, there's life. And if it's getting into your home, it's not going to be good for you or your loved ones.
Yeah. And mold is a silent killer. A lot of times we talked in the past on previous shows. By the way, go to our YouTube channel, 1,200 videos on our YouTube channel. You can pull up Brandon Faust, Mold Zero on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we talked about specific cases where people had underlying medical issues their doctor couldn't figure out. And then they finally said, hey, maybe you have mold in your house.
Yeah, I just talked to a guy, before I got here, that was grabbing lunch at the same place. He said, thank you so much for what you're doing. He saw my shirt, and I said, what are you talking about? He said, I had a jacuzzi that was leaking for over a year, and they couldn't find it, and it had a little pump that was pumping that contaminated air into my home, and I was dying by 1,000 deaths.
Wow.
It was totally, basically destroying my body, and we just happen to know a lot of the same people, but it really is an issue that people don't want to underestimate.
Wow. Mold Zero. Check them out online, moldzero.com. Chuck Peterson.
Lightning round. I'm saying congratulations for the win last night.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my tidbit for lightning round.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's good.
Man.
Tampa Bay, man.
Yeah, Bay. It's really happening.
Rolling.
Did you see that? I saw Brady came out and said something about said something about 90% of the things he says at a press conference isn't actually what he's thinking.
I'm sure. I mean, at this point in his career, he's probably just throwing stuff out there, seeing what anybody listens to.
Yeah.
He's just like, look at those nuts.
Just playing them even, just playing it cool. Yeah. So interesting stuff. Well, hey, thanks for coming in, guys. Say hello to the team as well, to Mary and everybody.
Yeah, Mary will be here next month because I'll be out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Take another vacation?
Well, trying to. Yeah, let's not. Don't say another. Makes it sound really bad.
I'm giving you a hard time.
I know you are.
All right, Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, Brandon Faust, Mold Zero. Check them out online. Support the show. Support local economy. We greatly appreciate everybody that reaches out to the hotline 813-750-0550. Call or text that line 813-750-0550 and consumerqb.com. We'll be right back. More consumer advocate content and advice right here. Kevin Overstreet in the house on this program. Plus, we got some tips about manatee, or out of Port Manatee. They found a huge gator, so we thought we'd do some tips from the Florida Fish and Wildlife here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, here we go. Tips for today. Port Manatee workers stumble across a 12-foot gator. So this is part of our feel-good story of the day. Got crews on scene, found a 12-foot-long alligator wandering around South Dock Street for a little stroll. The Fish and Wildlife responded safely to remove the curious reptile. He was estimated to be about 40 years old. So if you ever see an alligator appear that could be dangerous to humans, contact law enforcement. So we thought we'd do a few tips because this is their mating season. So alligators can be inconspicuous, spending much of their time floating in water just below the surface. So be careful. Just know that they are mostly inherently afraid of humans and typically pose no threat if left alone. Number 2, give alligators their space. Never feed them. Never, ever feed them. And if you see people feeding them, tell them not to because that's what makes them removes their inherent fear of humans. Alligator bites are most likely to occur in and around the water. However, they can lunge at prey within a few feet of shoreline. Be aware of possible presence of alligators. Let's see. We also say do not keep. It says keep your distance. Do not approach alligators for photographs in order to get a quote better look. Another tip says never allow children or pets to play, swim, or exercise in bodies of water where these reptiles may call home. And it's, yes, they can actually smell those animals. Somehow they're attracted to those animals. They can get over there, and that'll cause them to come and try to get a snack from you. And then if an alligator bites you, the best thing you can do is fight back, making as much noise and commotion as possible. Hitting, kicking the alligator, or poking it in its eyes may cause it to release its grip. So there is our tips today, consumer advocate tips in place of our feel-good story of the day. And welcome in Kevin Overstreet, Insured Title. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. And yourself?
You're looking good. Your recovery's well?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
good.
Doing good, man. Yep. Getting the workouts in. And
so we're going to fight the 12-foot gator with an eye poke.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It sounds like a Jim Carrey movie or something.
Sounds a little bit unfair.
Yeah, unfair advantage. Hey, do what you got to do if you're getting bit, I guess.
Yeah. Use whatever you have, right?
Yeah. That's right. Fool Nelson, something maybe. Who knows? But Fraudshine State got the author, your published author, Fraudshine State. You also have property prequal, and property firewall as well.
Yeah. So with the book still hasn't actually released because still waiting for a currently active story to play out,
right?
So that I can be more public with the details of it. But it's exciting. It's extremely delayed. The book writing or the book dictating was a couple of years ago, and it's not out yet. But to me, it's more important to get out the right version of it than the right now version.
Yeah.
So
just waiting on this last guy to kind of hang himself, right? Isn't that what I heard?
He's already hung himself. He just needs to
be charged.
He needs to know about it.
Okay, good. Okay, interesting.
So, yeah,
wow.
It's pretty crazy. And then you said you had Matt in here.
That's right, Matt Cox. Yep.
Yeah, and then the gentleman that you connected me with, Iran, up in North Carolina, we've rescheduled a few times because they're just so dang busy right now, and they just that network marketing company just acquired another one with another like 9,000 reps, and so that's a gold mine to tap eventually. But it looks like I'll be up there first part of August.
Very cool.
To meet with those folks. But
that's awesome.
So this market is insane, right?
Yeah,
just listening to your previous guests, it's there's not enough of anything other than people wanting to move here.
Yeah, exactly. Refugees.
Yeah,
that's the new term. They're moving from blue states to red, so they're refugees.
Love it.
They're fleeing those states, coming to our free state of Florida.
Yep. Except it's not free; it's expensive.
Exactly. Free in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how I didn't really come with a whole lot of material or anything today. I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit. You're obviously one of the top agents out there, and is there an end in sight to this? To the like with property pre-qual, it's a bit of a catch-22 right now because it's kind of more necessary than ever because the days on market are so short, and I mean people are putting up their house for sale at prices that are insane, and then getting 7 offers over asking.
Right.
And so being proactive, I think, is huge. But as far as launching that business here on a big scale, I don't know how attractive it's going to be right now to say we'll help your home sell faster.
Right.
Because they're already selling at lightning pace.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe even for the higher end, the $1 million properties potentially could be there. I don't see an end in sight. There's no irrational lending like there used to be. There's no challenges there. And again, it's unprecedented migration patterns in the United States. I mean, look at the big states where people are moving from: New Jersey, New York, California.
So they're just loaded with inventory, I assume.
Yep, that's right. And so people are leaving those states, trying to sell their home. Maybe they're renting their homes out or whatever, and they're coming down to Texas, Florida, even different state, Georgia, different states. They're moving, and then they're also moving west. This is interesting. They're moving to Idaho and South Dakota.
Where there's space.
Yeah, you got space, more land, single family home maybe.
And just beautiful country out there.
Exactly. Yep. And then the right laws to live by. They're not going to lock you down, make you stay in your 800 square foot condo in the middle of Chicago. Right. And then also look at crime. Look at the crime rate in the major cities.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Crime rates are up tremendously. And of course they blame it on COVID. They blame it on the lockdowns. No, it's the policy, and it's the the defunding the police efforts.
No defund, let's defend the police.
Let's defend them. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I think I saw a bumper sticker out there that said that, and that's pretty cool.
That's right.
So, what's new? What are you doing now to weather not the storm, but to keep up? I guess you've got several vacant lots that are listed, and that's ideal to build on.
Yep.
But
the inventory. That's the key. The key is inventory. And one thing I've been blessed with is the opportunity, or as a real estate agent, I've always been good at getting listings. So that's where my focus has been, is bringing on listings, feeding the buyer side of the team, bringing on listings. But a lot of times it happens, I find that catch-22 is I find the seller that's ready, willing, and able to sell, but then they need to find the next building to move to. If it's a commercial building, for example, I'm working with a big piano dealer right now that needs big space, $2 million plus big purchase deal, or the same thing with a single family home. They want to move to a different home, but they like their house okay, but this one would be better if they could find this type of parameter would be better. So that's the similar story. And people that aren't in the know, as you talk to people out there in the community, they say, "Oh, you're in real estate. You must be killing it right now." Well, actually, if you're a buyer agent, you're probably not, unless you're one of the top, 80-20 rule, right?
You're fighting to get your buyer's offer accepted. At
exactly.
This point. I mean, they're just lining up.
Yeah,
it's great, and I would encourage anybody out there to get in touch with you or someone and take a look at what kind of position they would be in, because in looking at the home selling, like in my area, where my house is, I'm like, it's really shocking, some of the prices that they're selling for.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I got a text message from one of my agents on our team this morning, and I was looking for it so I could read it out somewhat verbatim, but it said something to the effect that, "Hey, so excited! You should have heard the it was almost like squeal or the nerve or the sound from my buyer when I told her we got our offer accepted out of 11 other offers." And how happy she was. She was elated, that she got her offer accepted. So that's speaking to the competition that you mentioned there, Kevin.
Yeah, it's cash is king, and you could be a fantastic borrower with great credit and some money in the bank and just not get it. I
want to ask you about that, by the way. If you just joined us, we're talking with Kevin Overstreet. He's owner of multiple title companies. He's got a book coming out as well. He has other different companies as well, an entrepreneur here in Tampa Bay. But I want to talk about the effect of these hedge fund buyers. You mentioned cash buyer. These big hedge funds, the Wall Street millionaires combining forces, putting together, making a fund, creating, a hedge fund, or sometimes they might call themselves a real estate investment trust. But they're coming in and they're competing at record levels with the veteran buyer, the first-time buyer. What's your thoughts overall in general about that?
I mean, how do you compete with that? If you got somebody coming in with a ton of cash and they want to buy right now, that's tough to beat. I've got a good friend and client down in Key West who's kind of doing what you're talking about, but in a different way, and it's brilliant. He's actually getting a lot of pilots, commercial pilots, to put money in to this big fund that he has a manager for, and they're going to be buying up tons of properties down there for cash and flipping them or holding and renting, and I think that's going to be a big thing too. The big hedge funds are huge, but I think that a lot of folks like that will be cropping up and saying, look, we're not a big hedge fund, but we've got connections, and let's get some folks with some money together.
Yeah.
And just if they don't each have enough money, we get more folks.
Yeah.
And I think it's brilliant. But yeah, you're right. The veterans, this is a great example. They're getting loans to buy houses, and the sellers might not want to sell to them just because there's a mortgage, and they can sell in 5 days to a cash buyer, or at best 30 days to a mortgaged buyer, and more due diligence and all of that. So
path of least resistance for the seller, so you can't blame them. So I was kicking this around the other day on the show. I said, if this trend continues, we need to talk to our legislators and talk to them about, hey, remember how the REOs, when they'd roll them out back in 08, 09, 10, they would say, hey, the first 10 days, this is owner-occupied only offers, and then maybe after 10 days, open it up to institutional investors. Seems like that would make sense to bring something like that back.
Absolutely. That would be, and it'll come back eventually anyway, because when everything's cyclical in this industry, probably every industry, but the foreclosures will be a big piece of it, in a few years at some point. And you'll have lenders, a lot of lenders have lost a lot of money on because of their inability to foreclose because of legislation. So when that's lifted and loosened up, there will be. It's crazy in Florida, man. There's always an opportunity to take advantage of something in real estate, whether it's going up or down. And like you said, this is just unprecedented the way it's going up now.
Yeah.
And 11 offers.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a text from this morning. And then the other thing is also, if you look at the Main Street versus Wall Street paradigm, and you look at what inflation and the trillions of dollars that our great leaders in Washington D.C. have been doing, it's really punishing seniors. It's punishing anybody who wanted to be a saver over the last 8 to 10 years or even more. And then it's putting them into a bucket where they say, okay, well, where do I put my money? Right, I can't put it. Back in the day, you used to be able to put a mutual fund, not a mutual fund, but a money market account. You get like 4, 5, 6% interest, decent return on your money. Let it sit in the bank. Now what they did is they said, hey, let's make them pull their money out. We don't want to give them that return. Let's make them put it in the stock market, and then you get even more of a divide between the haves and the have-nots. So it's kind of a system where, and I blame the Fed chair. I blame the Treasury as well, Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell. These guys, they're the ones doing it. They're the the people that are kind of pushing this policy around.
Spend.
That's right.
And you mentioned who's being punished, and like your previous guests were talking, the people that work are being punished to a degree. It's $17 to wash dishes.
Yeah.
I washed dishes for a bit at a bar when I was in college, and I think it was missing the one. I think I was making $7 an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Small businesses getting hurt. We got about a minute left, my friend. Give us your best contact info, final thoughts.
Yep. So Kevin Overstreet, best way to get in touch with me is email, which is kevin@kevinoverstreet.com, or via phone, 813-504-9708. And, final thoughts, just to reiterate what I said, I think every homeowner who's in an equity position, you're probably in a better equity position than you think. Right. And get in touch with Brandon or his team or someone, and take a look at where you stand and see what your opportunity might be. Right. And you could be in a great spot to sell right now, and it will sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Great time to be investing. If anybody has sideline money, look at trying to invest, and you got to work with a realtor team that can, get those offers accepted. It's a lot of competition. So how do you do that? That's kind of the secret sauce.
And if you're looking at 4 or 5% in an account, or there's not going to be anything that's going to return more right now than Florida real estate.
Exactly. Yep. Especially when you long-term hold it.
Sure.
Well, hey, good stuff, Kevin. Thanks for coming in, my friend.
My pleasure.
Brandon Faust, Chuck Peterson as well on the show earlier. We always say we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And follow us online. We would love to connect with you at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. Consumer Quarterback Show page as well on Facebook. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.